I never thought my own sister would look me in the eyes, shove a stack of legal papers across the table, and tell me, "Sign it or I will ruin you." And the craziest part? She was talking about her wedding. Her wedding. Not a house, not a business, not an emergency. She wanted $40,000 from me like I was some personal bank she could threaten into submission. And she brought her lawyers to make sure I understood she was serious. I still replay that moment in my head, wondering how siblings get to this point. Was I wrong for refusing? Did I cross the line by standing my ground? Or was this the moment I finally woke up to what my family really thought of me? The story didn't start with lawyers and threats. It started a long time ago, with small things that seemed harmless. I'm the oldest. My sister Lily is 4 years younger. Growing up, she was always the princess of the family. Everyone called her that. Literally, like it was her nickname. My parents adored her, spoiled her, praised every little thing she did. Meanwhile, I was the one who had to be responsible. I was the one who had to understand when money was tight, when we couldn't afford things, when dreams had to wait. When I wanted new shoes, I got the ugly pair on clearance. When she wanted a dress, somehow money magically appeared. I don't say that to sound bitter, at least not back then. I honestly convinced myself that's how families worked. The older sibling sacrifices. The younger one gets protected. As we grew older, that pattern just grew teeth. When Lily wrecked her car at 18, my parents bailed her out and guilted me into helping pay for repairs because I had a job. When I went to college, I worked 2 part-time jobs and took out loans. When she went to college, they covered almost everything and called it fair, because she was just a girl trying to find her place. When I got married, my wedding was small, simple, at a park. My parents gave me $1,000, hugged me, said, "We wish we could do more." And honestly, I was grateful. When Lily started dating her now fiancé, Ethan, my mom actually said, "We need to start saving early. Her wedding will be special." I should have seen where this was heading, but back then, I shrugged it off. I thought life had finally balanced out. I had my career, I had worked hard, bought a modest home, paid off most of my debt, and finally had some savings. I was proud. I thought someday my sister would look at me and say, "Thank you for everything." I was delusional. Lily's engagement announcement was like a royal decree. She didn't ask anyone what they thought. She declared what would happen. Massive venue, designer dress, over 200 guests, destination honeymoon, bridal shower, rehearsal dinner, custom everything. And every conversation included some version of, "Well, obviously you'll help." It wasn't even a request. It was implied, expected, built into the plan before I even opened my mouth. I remember one dinner at my parents' house where she casually said, "Oh, and when my brother pays for the band, that frees up our budget for flowers." My fork froze midair. I hadn't agreed to anything, and yet I was just assigned. At first, I laughed it off. I said, "Lily, I'm not paying for your band." She rolled her eyes like I was joking. "Stop being dramatic. You make good money. You don't even have kids. You can help." That sentence, "You don't even have kids," became their favorite weapon. My parents jumped in. "Your sister only gets married once. Family supports each other. You're financially stable. And yeah, I make a decent salary. I'm not rich, but I budget. I worked so hard to get where I am. I have emergency savings. I take care of my house." I finally had peace and security after years of scrapping together pennies. But in their eyes, that just meant I owed them. The real bomb dropped during what was supposed to be a family planning meeting for the wedding. I walked into my parents' living room and immediately noticed something weird. Lily, Ethan, my parents, and 2 strangers in suits. My mom said, super nervous and smiling too hard, "We just want everything clear and fair and organized." One of the lawyers put a folder in front of me. Inside was a contract, a legally binding agreement stating I would contribute a gift of $40,000 toward the wedding expenses. $40,000. I thought it was a joke. I literally laughed. Then I realized no one else was laughing. I asked, "What is this?" The lawyer calmly said, "It's simply formal documentation, so expectations are clear and there's no confusion later." Lily leaned forward like she was doing me a favor. "We didn't want any drama. We just want you to sign so everyone knows what to expect. Ethan's parents are contributing, and it's only fair." Only fair? Like we were splitting a business merger. I said, "I'm not signing anything. I'm not paying $40,000. My dad's face went cold. My mom looked like I had slapped her, and Lily, her smile disappeared. She hardened. "You owe me," she said. Just like that. "You had your turn. Mom and Dad paid for your college and wedding." I felt heat rush to my face. They did not pay for my college. I paid for my college, and my wedding was barely anything. My mom jumped in. "That's not the point. You're older. You're in a position to help. We raised you to take care of family." That word again. Position. Like I was a walking ATM. I pushed the folder back. "No, I'm not doing this." The lawyer calmly slid it back towards me. "Before deciding, please understand there are implications. Significant deposits have already been made, based on your sister's projection of your contribution." That's when I realized they had planned everything, counting my money as guaranteed. Lily leaned back, crossed her arms, and said the sentence that changed everything. "Sign it or I will ruin you." My brain couldn't process it at first. I asked her what she meant. She didn't hesitate. She said she would tell the entire extended family. My coworkers, she knew some of them socially, and everyone online that I abandoned her, that I was greedy, abusive, controlling, that I promised the money and backed out. She said, "People will believe me because they know I don't lie." Then she dropped the real threat. She'd tell lies about me and my marriage. She said she'd suggest I had stolen money from my parents, that I mistreated them, that I emotionally blackmailed her. I stared at her, realizing I didn't recognize the person in front of me anymore. I stood up and walked out. My heart was pounding, my hands shaking. My phone blew up before I even reached my car. Messages from my mom saying I was breaking her heart. My dad telling me I was ungrateful. Lily sending voice notes alternating between fake crying and cold threats. I ignored them. That night I didn't sleep. I sat there wondering if I was crazy. Was I actually the villain? Was this some cultural guilt thing, some family tradition I didn't understand? I went over my finances again. $40,000 wasn't helping. It would wipe out years of savings and set me back completely. And even worse, it would teach them that threats worked. The next few weeks were hell. My parents stopped talking to me unless it was to lecture me. Lily spammed social media with passive-aggressive posts like, "Some people don't know how to be there for family, and money changes people." Relatives started calling me, asking what was going on, implying that I had promised the money. I hadn't. Ever. And still, the pressure grew, like a noose tightening. At work, I struggled to focus. I'm not the type who likes conflict, and I hate being misunderstood more than anything. But I also knew deep down if I gave in, I'd never get my life back. Here's where I want to pause and ask you something. Imagine you're in my position. Your sister demands $40,000, brings lawyers, threatens your reputation, manipulates your parents, and expects you to sacrifice years of your hard work for a wedding. Not medical bills, not survival, a party. So that's the situation I was in, and I had to make a choice. Before I tell you what happened next, I want you to pause and comment below what you would have done in my shoes. Would you pay to keep the peace, or would you risk losing your entire family by saying no? Okay, so here's what I decided. I contacted a lawyer of my own. I brought in every message, recording, email, everything. My lawyer read through it quietly and said, "They're trying to extort you. Don't sign. Don't pay. Document everything." That word, extort, shook me. I had been thinking of this as family drama, not something actually wrong. He also suggested I send one formal message to them, setting boundaries clearly. So I did. I wrote that I loved them, but I would not contribute $40,000. I would not be coerced, and further attempts to defame or threaten me would be handled legally. I wasn't dramatic or emotional, just firm. My parents called me screaming. My mom sobbed that I was tearing the family apart. My dad accused my spouse of changing me. Lily sent a final message. "If you want war, you'll get it." And oh, she meant it. Within days, rumors started spreading. I heard from a cousin that Lily told people. I gambled my money away and refused to help because I was ashamed. Another relative said Lily had cried about how I promised the money, then snatched it back. None of it was true. But gossip spreads faster than truth. And honestly, that hurt more than the money part. They were rewriting reality. The real escalation came a month before the wedding. I got an official letter from a different law firm. A defamation threat aimed at me. They were accusing me of damaging Lily's reputation by telling certain relatives that she attempted to extort me. The letter suggested I publicly apologize and clarify that I had misunderstood. My lawyer laughed when he read it and said, "They're bluffing." But still, that was my sister, my own flesh and blood. Weaponizing the legal system and lying for money. Something inside me just snapped. I realized I didn't owe these people my peace anymore. The wedding came and I didn't go. I sent a short message the day before saying I wished them well, but due to the way things were handled, I would not be attending. My parents didn't reply. Lily didn't reply. The silence felt like a funeral. The day of the wedding, I stayed home, cooked dinner, tried not to think about it. Around 10 p.m., I started getting screenshots. Apparently during the speeches, Lily actually took the microphone and said something along the lines of, "Some people you think will always support you show their true colors." People told me she was crying while saying it, playing the victim perfectly. That sealed the narrative for half the family, but here's where karma stepped in. Remember all those deposits they put down based on my promise? Well, they overextended. They assumed Ethan's parents would cover any gaps. Turns out, Ethan's parents had already told them clearly what they would pay and refused to go beyond it. Vendors began demanding final payments. They were short, really short. And because they tried to move things around in shady ways, some vendors threatened small claims court. My parents, who live on a fixed income, suddenly realized Lily had been hiding costs and manipulating numbers. They had signed their names on things without fully understanding. They were furious, not at me at first, but at the situation. After the wedding, the bills started hitting. Lily called me one evening, voice trembling, not with humility, but with rage. "This is your fault," she snapped. "If you had just done what you're supposed to do, none of this would have happened." I calmly said, "I never agreed to pay. I warned you. You kept pushing." She screamed at me, saying I was dead. To her, I hung up. And then, a week later, my parents finally came to see me. They looked older, tired. For the first time, they apologized. My mom admitted they pressured me unfairly. My dad said something that stuck with me. "We treated you like a resource, not a son." They said Lily had lied to them about what I said, exaggerated things, and manipulated them emotionally. I wish I could say everything healed instantly. It didn't. I told them I needed time. I wasn't going to rush back into the same dynamic. I laid boundaries, clear ones. No more money talk. No more guilt. If they wanted a relationship with me, it had to be honest. They agreed. Lily, on the other hand, doubled down. She blocked me everywhere, told people I abandoned her, and acted like she was the hero in this whole thing. Eventually, friends started seeing the pattern. How she always played the victim. How everyone had to orbit around her needs. Slowly, people stopped buying the story. Months passed. I went to therapy. I worked through the guilt, the anger, the sadness of realizing my sister valued my bank account more than our relationship. And with time, I stopped feeling like the villain. I started seeing clearly. Saying no was necessary. It wasn't cruel. It was survival. Looking back now, I still wonder what might have happened if I had caved. I'd be broke, resentful, controlled, probably trapped in a lifetime of demands. Instead, I chose to draw a line. It cost me my relationship with my sister, at least for now, but it saved my sanity. And as hard as it was, I'd choose it again. Sometimes, the people closest to us are the ones who feel the most entitled to our sacrifices. And sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is say no, enough. So that's my story. If you were on my side like this video, if you think I was wrong, tell me why. I genuinely want to hear your thoughts. Subscribe for more stories like this, and share your final thoughts on this whole mess in the comments section. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you all in the next story.